simply, this group is not affiliated with me or the school, and therefore there's nothing to talk about. But because of the right-wing pressures, the mayor of the city of New York, Mayor Bloomberg, who's still our mayor now, 12 years, basically caved and pandered to the right-wing neoconservatives and had his staff force me out of my position. And they gave me an ultimatum. It is either you or we will not let the school open. Now, when we set out to do things in our lives as individuals, especially because we are Muslim, everything we do is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for His pleasure, for His service. The moment that I set out to establish the school, it wasn't for me or about me. It was about establishing a historical institution that will tell the story of the Arab peoples, their religions, their cultures, to make sure that the negative perceptions that have been created about the Arab peoples and Muslims were told accurately. We're given the opportunity to be told of the rich history and culture that these people come from. And so, because of the price of this institution, I had no choice but to say, I must save this institution. I did as they asked me, I complied, and I moved on. And I waited till the school opened, tried to have conversations behind closed doors to say, I realize that you were upset. Now the dust has settled. We need to talk about what happened. I was gravely removed from my position based on propaganda. I want my position back. There was absolutely no opportunity to have a conversation. They refused to talk with me and left me with no choice but to file a lawsuit against the New York City Department of Education and the mayor of the city of New York and all of the people who worked with him to force me out of my position. Again, you should look it up in the New York Times. They did a feature story, one of the longest exposés. It took 4 months. And they talked to people all over the country who've known me for 20 years or more to put this story together. There's also videos of the people who attacked me. How many of you know Daniel Pipes? Raise your hand. How many of you know Pamela Geller? Okay. How many of you know Robert Spencer? Okay. How many of you know David Horowitz? Okay. How many of you know David Hiroshima? Okay. All right. These were the people that orchestrated the propaganda about me. They are also the same people that are orchestrating the propaganda about other prominent Muslims in America. And they only do this when they see that individuals are trying to expand their positions in the United States to make a difference. They are so threatened by people such as me, such as Imam Siraj Wahaj, such as Zaid Shakib, and the list goes on and on and on of all of these prominent people in our community. They don't want people to follow us. They don't want people to hear us. They're afraid that we have an agenda to take this country over and make it Sharia compliant. Yeah, right. And so this is their propaganda going after individuals. Now, we as a community have 2 options. One, we can buckle, find the biggest rock and hide underneath it. Or 2, we could say, bring it on. And the one thing that I am proud to say, and I thank Allah every single day for giving me the strength and the endurance to say, bring it on. To give me the strength to battle 4 years in federal court against the city. In addition to that, to battle Pamela Geller, Daniel Pipes, and a few others who launched, are you ready for this? A lawsuit against me. They claimed that I defamed them, that I was portraying them negatively every time I spoke publicly. They had no idea that after they got there to force me out of my position, that I was going to rise like the phoenix and say, bring it on. They had no idea. They thought I was just going to go away into the sunset and not want to do anything ever again. They had no idea that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed me with the strength to fight them. They filed a lawsuit in Kings County Court. It dragged on for 1.5 years. David Urashami was a lawyer that basically represented them. They wanted, before filing, for me to give them each $25,000 and to issue a public statement apologizing for all the things that I had said, and, get ready for this one, to tell the New York Times to retract the story they wrote about me. Is the New York Times going to listen to me? The New York Times doesn't write about anything or anyone until they do their due diligence of what they're going to print. So I told my lawyers, you can tell them I will apologize and give them money when donkeys fly. They want to sue me, go right on ahead. And they did. And when they issued a press release to let the world know that they were suing me, it was in the New York Times. I was annoyed with the New York Times why they published it. But, you know, subhanAllah, when he wants something for an individual to happen, it happens. One person read the New York Times who was a prominent lawyer in New York City. He was so outraged, he picked up the phone and he started to call people in New York City and say, can you please help me get to Debbie Almontaser? I want to talk to her. He eventually sent an email to somebody to forward to me, and in that email he said, I am so sorry for what members of my community have done to you, and I want to fix this wrong. And I want to fix this wrong pro bono, free of charge. Please give me the opportunity to represent you against these people. I went and I met with him, and I let him take my case on. And by the way, the lawsuits that I had against the city and the Department of Education, they were also taken on for free by members of the Jewish community who wanted to fix this wrong done by others to me. And subhanAllah, my legal fees for all of these matters could have been $1 million. $1 million for all the lawyers, for all of the times we appeared in court. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it easy for me to be able to stand with dignity and eloquence for my rights, but more importantly, for all of our rights. Before going forward about whether to challenge this or not, I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed. And I kept asking Allah to guide me to do what it is right, not for me, the individual, but for me to know what to do on behalf of my community. To know that this will never happen again to any other Muslim or Arab in the United States. And I woke up one morning feeling exuberance and courage in my heart to say, I will not remain silent. I picked up the phone and I called the lawyer I'll never forget the day when I stood at the steps of City Hall talking about everything that happened and how my heart was beating so hard in my chest. But I just kept reading Quran over and over, and I was able to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote for me. There are times that we say to ourselves, why me? Why does this happen to me? Why me? Why not somebody else? I don't want to be the one. There was never a moment that I felt that. And so I want to end by saying to you, never be the person to say, why me? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
chose you.
Has written everything for us. And we must take everything that He gives us with thanks. We must be proud of who we are and where we come from. Don't let anyone measure how American you are. You must find yourself as an individual and your purpose in life. And you must stand with perseverance when you are faced with obstacles. Never let anyone or anything deter you from what you do and what you believe. I learned that all I had to fear was fear itself. And what was happening to members of my community was unacceptable. And therefore I fought. And so I say to you, my brothers and sisters, keep that in your heart and fight for what is right. And there will be times that your leadership and your faith will be challenged. But if your faith is strong, it will not be challenged. It, in fact, will take you through those challenges. And so lastly, I would say to the young people, dream big. Don't let anyone say to you, that's impossible. No way, can't happen. Dream big. Stand proud. Be bold. Okay? You wear the hijab. You are the ambassador of Islam. Be bold and protect your faith. But most importantly, remain humble so that way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give His blessings on everything that you do. And use your faith as your compass. And that would be the best thing you could do. And so I close with Assalamu alaikum, and thank you to the Muna community for inviting me today. And inshallah, I will be here for some time. If there is Q&A, I'll be happy to do it. But I want to also say I'm just so thrilled and honored that I'm sharing the platform with Sister Lauren, and I'm finally getting the time to meet her, the opportunity to meet her. And so I want to meet her. And of course, the young sisters of Muna are in my dua, and if I could be of any service to any one of you, please don't hesitate to contact me.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar.
What is the